In 1925, two heavyweights took the ring. On the right stood three-time presidential candidate William Jennings Bryan. On the left stood his old friend Clarence Darrow, defending the accused John Scopes, who had violated Tennessee's prohibition on teaching evolution in the classroom. The trial was held across 6 days in July, so hot that it was moved outside of the courthouse. This trial was extremely influential, marking a watershed moment in American culture, and may have gone down as the trial of the century if it hadn't been for this guy. The content was not so important as the ideologies that were represented. Scopes was clearly guilty under the Tennessee law with little hope of victory. Instead, it pitted the more liberal progressives who favored science and evolution against the stalwarts of fundamentalism who desired to going back to a traditional Bible-based American society. The trial was popular and broadcast over the new medium of radio, and even gained international attention. American society had changed dramatically in only a few decades. In 1820, the frontier was declared officially closed. The 1920 census showed for the first time that a majority of Americans lived in cities. And these cities reflected a culture that was alien to many Americans that held to traditional values. As he arrived in Dayton, the New York Times reported William Jennings Bryan as saying, "The contest between evolution and Christianity is a duel to the death. It has been in the past a death struggle in darkness. From this time on, it will be a death grapple in the light. If evolution wins in Dayton, Christianity goes. Not suddenly, of course, but gradually. For the two cannot stand together. They are as antagonistic as light and darkness, as good and evil." Bryan's prosecution seemed to rest on the confidence that a majority of the population still clung to these fundamental Christian values, and that those values would prove to be morally superior to any evidence presented by the defense. Clarence Darrow rested his defense on a more modern strategy. According to an article in the Washington Post dated June 9, 1925, the Tennessee law forbidding the teaching of evolution in schools exceeded state power and was unconstitutional. Darrow would also argue that state control of educational curriculum was a threat to academic freedom and should be curbed. When the arguments had been presented and the gavel was hammered, John Scopes was found guilty, as had been predicted, and fined $100, although that would later be overturned. And the fundamentalists celebrated a brief victory. But who were the real winners and losers in this case? I think the answer can be deduced from a whimsical article published in the Evening Star on June 18, 1925, saying, the title is "Darwin's Spirit Recants Theories to Medium on Eve of Scopes' Trial." On the eve of the Scopes trial in Tennessee, the spirit of Charles Darwin has entered the evolution controversy, which is about to challenge the attention of the world. Darwin recants. He takes it all back. He says man is not descended from the ape. Darwin is sorry that he spoke. He asks his followers to scrap the theory of evolution and accept the affirmation that mankind is of divine origin. The recipient of his remorseful communications is an English woman, Miss Louise Owen, who happened to be a psychic or a medium. Certainly this story is satire, but I think we can rightly assume that no traditional Christian newspaper would publish a story with a psychic as its source, or even have treated such a subject so lightheartedly. Witchcraft and sorcery have always been taboo in Christian societies. The Scopes trial may not have been the struggle that determined the life or death of Christianity as Bryan believed. Perhaps it merely reflected a culture that had already turned away from it. I'm Russ Rolls. Thank you for watching.